Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has forced one of the Army's most celebrated generals to resign, and the move is sending shockwaves through military circles in Washington. General Christopher T. Donahue, the top U.S. Army commander in Europe and Africa, has been pushed out by Hegseth, dealing a significant blow to those who saw him as the future of American military leadership. Donahue is set to relinquish his command on July 2 and plans to retire in August. So who is Christopher Donahue? He spent most of his career in the shadows, first as an Army Ranger, then as a commando in the elite Delta Force, where he eventually rose to become the unit's commanding officer. He is, by almost any measure, the kind of soldier the Army holds up as exemplary. You might actually recognize his name from one of the most striking images of the past decade. In August 2021, as the United States completed its chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, a night vision photograph captured General Donahue stepping onto a C-17 transport plane at Kabul's airport, the last American service member to leave Afghanistan. Before that flight, he had helped lead the evacuation of as many as 124,000 Afghan allies, one of the largest airlifts in U.S. military history. His troops were rushed in to restore order as the Taliban closed in and desperate Afghans tried to flee. He and his soldiers were not responsible for security at Abbey Gate, the site of the suicide bombing that killed 13 American troops and more than 150 Afghans, a detail defense officials were careful to make clear. After Afghanistan, his career only accelerated. He was promoted to lead the 18th Airborne Corps, where he oversaw a partnership that supplied Ukraine with weapons, intelligence, and battlefield advice support that helped Kyiv fend off Russia's full-scale invasion and culminated in a successful Ukrainian counteroffensive retaking large parts of Kharkiv and Kherson. More recently, as commander of U.S. Army Europe and Africa, Donahue built what he called the Eastern Flank Deterrence Initiative, a warfighting concept drawing on lessons from Ukraine that combined physical barriers, drones, sensors, and artificial intelligence to defend NATO's eastern border against Russian aggression. That work made him Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll's top choice to become Army Chief of Staff, after Hegseth fired the previous chief, General Randy George, in early April. Donahue also had rare bipartisan support in Congress, with both Democratic and Republican senators backing him as the right leader to modernize the Army for an era defined by robotics and AI. And yet, Hegseth said no. Why? That part remains murky. The two men have met only once briefly and, by all accounts, cordially, during a troop visit to Poland in February. The Pentagon declined to explain the decision. What is clear is the pattern. Over the last 18 months, Hegseth has systematically fired or sidelined many of the Army's most experienced combat leaders, replacing them with generals he views as aligned with his own vision. Hegseth himself has a complicated relationship with the military. He served in Iraq and in the National Guard, but was forced out of the Army over tattoos the service deemed extremist. In a 2024 book, he wrote that the military he loved spit me out. His tenure as Defense Secretary has been defined, in part, by a sweeping reshaping of the Army's top brass. With Donahue out, his deputy, Major General Christopher Norrie, will step in as acting commander until a replacement is named. And in another signal of shifting priorities, Donahue's 4-star command is expected to be downgraded to a 3-star position, reflecting the Pentagon's broader push to redirect American military focus away from Europe and toward Asia. For those watching the Army's evolution on the modern battlefield, the departure of General Donahue is more than a personnel change, it is a statement about whose vision of that future will prevail. That's the story of General Christopher Donahue, the last American out of Afghanistan, a key architect of NATO's drone-age defenses, and now, a retired soldier whose next chapter begins in August.